What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Have you ever noticed the similarities between the South Africans and African Americans in our rhetoric, in our culture per se, our modern culture? Have you noticed the similarities in how we react to our other brothers and sisters on the continent and around the world? Have you noticed even our lower, vibrational members of our societies, how they act? The xenophobic ones, how they act towards other Africans. Have you noticed the similarities of African Americans and South Africans? And I believe, and this lady who's about to speak believes, that it has something to do with the proximity to whiteness that we all have. Right? South Africans and African Americans have something that we share that's unique from other Africans, and their history of oppression. We have something unique because, unlike them, for the most part, we live directly with our oppressors still to this day, fighting for every scrap of our identity and our agency in the countries that we reside in. The only difference is South Africa, the ones in South Africa are still in their homeland, and we are in another place, right? But after time, we made this our homeland, right? But I want you to hear this lady, because I'm telling you, I've been thinking this for quite some time, that the reason why we have such visceral reaction, this March on March to Dula movement, and we got this FBA movement that's being amplified by white supremacy, is because these two individual groups, right, and ADOS and all this, were created by the white people who see the black people unite. They see us uniting. They see us connecting all the dots, and so they're activating the ignorant masses amongst us that they were able to curate. Right? They culled some of these individuals from our communities, and they're able to use them as tools, useful idiots, if you know what I mean. Right? So anyway, without further ado, let's listen to what this sister got to say, because I think she got a point. And if you think she got a point, or you think she's wrong, let's talk about it in the comment section. That's all I got to say for now, guys. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
I just noticed something that the FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, the ADOS, the African Descendants of Slavery, and the groups in South Africa perpetuating xenophobia, I believe they're called March on March, Operation Dadula, I noticed something that both of them have in common. South Africa experienced settler colonialism. A couple of other African countries also experienced this, but not on the scale South Africa did. And that is very similar to the experience that Black Americans experience in America. The experience of living with your oppressor and your body being used as the labor to build the country while still being regulated as a second-class citizen. Both categories share this allegiance to the land by either being indigenous to it or being there without their will and having to recreate their own experience and make the best of it. Both groups become very nationalistic and prideful of the strides that their people have made in said country, which is completely understandable. But the problem comes in when neither group decides to interrogate the system that brought them there in the first place. They both almost treat the colonizer as an inevitable variable in the equation. And immigrants or any outsider that comes in to compete with the already scarce resources that the colonizer is giving them becomes the enemy rather than the system and the colonizer. The colonizer that's hoarding the resources and has the ability to just give them more, mind you. They now start developing anti-immigration rhetoric, and the state, the government, the colonizers recognize this and allow them not into the club financially or socioeconomically or in any way that would benefit their material well-being, but through like flag association. They start inviting them to do interviews. Tucker Carlson talking about the Foundation of Black Americans having a right to be mad at immigrants. They start inviting them into these conversations, start making them feel like they belong. South African politicians using xenophobic rhetoric to run their campaigns by agreeing that it's the migrants that are the reason why South Africans are suffering. There's so much harm going on. This now emboldens these groups to do the grunt work, the on-the-ground work for the colonizers. I'm definitely going to write a Substack article on this, but I'm noticing a connection between settler colonialism, minority groups, and xenophobia. There's something there, and I just can't prove it yet, but I will.
Another African immigrant has it all wrong. See, this is why we don't want immigrants speaking for us as Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians. Pay close attention. She mentioned Black Americans are using flag association with white Americans in relation to getting into some type of special club. She mentioned FBA, ADOS, and some South African groups, right, living amongst colonizers. Now listen, these aren't the only people that live amongst colonizers. Many of us Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians, believe that a lot of you immigrants are colonizers, and I'm going to tell you why later on. But listen, in her bio, she solely has a Cameroon flag. She's an African immigrant, Right? Now, it doesn't matter if she's second generation, if she was born in the USA or not. That makes it even worse that she only has a Cameroon flag in her bio because she fled her land. This is the land she wanted to come to. Her parents wanted to come to because they couldn't survive in their own land. So she doesn't even have respect for the United States of America to carry the USA flag. Now, I'm sure in her land, Cameroon, any immigrant, that they have problems in their government. I bet you one of the top reasons she left her land is because she could not survive in her land. And these immigrants, especially African immigrants, would tell you this is why they fled their land. They didn't come over here for a fucking destination wedding. So this is what we're talking about. See, oftentimes these immigrants talk as if they're the same tier of American as you, a Black American, Indigenous American Indian. We're not saying we're better than you. Well, maybe some of us are in certain aspects, but surely you are not equal to the people that existed over here in this land pre-colonization, pre-slavery, and who built this land. And oftentimes these immigrants have it fucked up. Many of us, now me, I'm going to speak for me, maybe you guys can relate to me. I view a lot of you immigrants, especially you African immigrants and Caribbean immigrants, as colonizers. You think we view the white people as different than you. I actually view you like the white people. We predate the white people in the United States of America as well as we predate you. That's what you guys don't understand. She's talking about basically, why aren't we taking our fight to the powers that be? Where did this lady come from? My fifth great grandfather is Nat Turner, one of the greatest American freedom fighters of all time. See, this is what we're talking about on my channel. I have a bachelor's degree in journalism, minor in psychology, master's degree in communication media with a specialization in public relations. I lend my education to my lineage. That's my passion. Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians were not made a protected class in the United States of America. We are protecting our culture, right? Advocating for reparations, restorative justice, specific policies for our lineage, birthrights in the United States of America that you claim by way of lineage, not through being an immigrant, right? So this is what they don't get. This is why delineation is important. Now, the South Africans, they have their own shit going on, and rightfully so, because they are the people of that land, the fruits and seeds of that land. Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians are the fruits and seeds of this land. She is not. Immigrants are not. And oftentimes these so-called melanated immigrants, see, I'm not calling them black, the Africans and the Caribbeans, the people who look similar to us, similar. What they do is they come here and they get to benefit off of Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians in the United States of America because we were not made a protected class. But they fail to realize that we've been fighting the white people before you even fucking came over here. So for her to open up her yapper and say, why aren't we taking our fight to the powers that be, motherfucker? That's the fucking issue that we have with you. As long as you get to cosplay and say that we are the same, we cannot claim our justice claims by way of delineation. What happened to the ancestors? Time and place, the context, the nuance. How were they negatively affected, and their descendants, the domino effect of devastation and peril that happened to Black Americans? Slavery, Jim Crow, the crack epidemic, war on drugs, mass incarceration, redlining, loan discrimination, bombing your banks, your businesses, your towns. And then they don't want to give you a loan to rebuild. It's not so easy to rebuild. And then the immigrants come over here and they get immigrant loans and grants and say they came over here with nothing. So why can't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps? And as long as they get to double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip, when we are fighting for something, on top of them cosplaying as Black Americans, you are the problem. Now we have to take our eye off the powers that be, the so-called white people that you think is our same oppressor. White people gave you access and locked Black Americans out of access. But her whole issue is she wants us to take the fight to the white people. But how can we do that when you motherfuckers are so busy cosplaying as us, stopping us from delineating because you want to benefit? You got to understand, Black Americans, Indigenous American Indians, these immigrants are in survival mode. Whether they came over here legally or not, anyone who is in survival mode, they'll do anything. They'll say anything. So of course these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about your well-being. They don't give a fuck that you have a birthright in the United States of America that they do not have. This is a woman who doesn't honor her ancestors. She think by putting a fucking Cameroon flag in her bio, she's honoring ancestors. I tell you guys all the time, take notes, because you have to say this and repeat it and throw it in their faces. You do not honor your ancestors the same way Black Americans honor our ancestors, because we're living in the variable of the United States of America, the land we built and existed in pre-colonization, pre-slavery, doing the exact same things our ancestors were doing. fighting for the things I told you, protecting our culture, reparations, restorative justice, birthrights, specific policies for lineage. You fled your land because I know that there are people in Cameroon, any of you immigrants, wherever you're from, there's people over there fighting for the exact same things we are fighting for in our land, i.e. the South Africans who are in their land minding their motherfucking business. So when Africans and immigrants, you flee your fucking land, and you come to a place where we've been fighting. What do you mean? We advocated for the Immigration Act of 1965, allowing your African ass, your immigrant asses to come over here off the backs of civil rights when the white people in power were only letting white immigrants over. We said that's not right. Let the POC over, let the Caribbeans over, let the Africans over. And never would our ancestors have imagined that you people would cosplay us so much. You want to leech off of us so much and be vampiric that we can't even claim our birthrights because you have the history all fucked up. What do you mean we don't fight the white people? Just take it to the white people. Take the fight to the white people when your motherfucking African Cameroon ass didn't even take the fight to the people that look like you in Africa. Because you had something right. Black Americans, indigenous American Indians lived, grew up in the belly of the beast under the oppressor. But you, my dear, you are from Cameroon, majority melanated land. People like you, who look like you, in power, who are corrupt, oppressing you. So, my dear, it's even worse for you as an African woman who fled her fucking land. The people that look like you are oppressing you in Africa. That's the difference. And you fled your own land. Now, if you're going with the narrative of the transatlantic slave trade, Africans sold other Africans into slavery of opposing tribes. Thus, that means they never viewed each other the same based on their phenotype, the way they look. Now, we all know that black Americans all don't come from Africa. But if you're going with the narrative, when so-called black presenting people delineate, you believe that they're breaking some moral code that never existed. It never existed in Africa. There was never unity in Africa, the same way it was never unity anywhere in the world amongst Europeans, amongst indigenous American Indians. You understand? You couldn't even fight in your own land. So how the fuck can you, as a Cameroon African immigrant, tell black Americans who've been fighting, we paved the way for you to even come over here, how we should fight when we've been fighting the white people and presently continue to fight the white people? She's talking about FBA and ADOS, saying that they're xenophobic from delineating and saying we're not the same. See, a lot of these people get their feelings hurt, right, when you say things to them because they said something to you. And that's what I'm witnessing, is that a lot of black Americans who are delineating, because it's just not FBA and ADOS, there's Solon, there's Hebrew Israelites. Now that's a mixed group, you know, they be letting Caribbeans and Mexicans and all. Listen, indigenous American Indians in the United States of America. There are many more. There are black Americans who don't even take on these titles, who are still delineating from you, and they're starting to see it now that you people are leeches and you want to benefit from us. How can an immigrant who fled her fucking land tell us how to fight white people when my fifth great grandfather, Nat Turner, one of the greatest American freedom fighters of all time, been fighting white people? All these civil rights leaders have been fighting white people. But you know what's so funny? I want to say this real quick because I know somebody's going to say this. They like to say that there were Caribbeans in the civil rights movement. Listen, the Caribbeans and these non-black Americans who were in the civil rights movement, they were living a black American experience, right? And the time was different. The era was different, right? So they were fighting for black Americans because they lived in the variable of the United States of America. And when you immigrants, you Caribbeans and you Africans come over here and you try to use Caribbeans or Africans who have been fighting in the civil rights movement as some type of collateral or segue to say that you're entitled to black American benefits and culture, it doesn't make sense, because this is why you don't understand shit. This is why we have been continuing to argue with you people and put you in your place, because you don't understand culture and you don't understand history. These people who were bi-ethnic, multiracial, non-black Americans in the civil rights movement, they were fighting for black Americans. You people don't fight for black Americans. We've been talking about Haitians recently and a lot of the other Caribbeans and Africans, right? Haitians, for example, say that they freed everyone, right? But do they help black Americans advocate for the things I've listed? Reparations, restorative justice, specific policies for our lineage, birthrights in the United States of America, protecting our culture? No, because everybody's so busy mimicking black Americans. They're in survival mode. So what are you talking about? You don't even help black Americans. You are a foe of black Americans. She has it all wrong. Let's go back to the bio. In her bio, she has a Cameroon flag. And she's living in Texas. And she was talking about black Americans using the USA flag. Hold on. A lot of people don't know, but the red, white, and blue colors And the USA flag is actually indigenous American Indian colors. You might want to look that up. That flag, those colors already existed over here before the white folks already got over here. But that's some nuanced history that even a lot of the black Americans or the African Americans don't even know. What are you talking about? The flag. This is our fucking flag. What don't you get? What don't you get? These immigrants really believe that they are different than the white people. You are colonizers too. You come to our communities and you benefit from us. We've been talking about the Spanish people, right? You know, the Afro-Latinos, the Afro-Spanish people. Now I'm going to wrap them up in a bow, and I'm gonna put them in a box with the Caribbeans and the Africans, right? We were talking about how black Americans are being discriminated against, fired and not hired because we don't speak Spanish in our land. This is not a Spanish speaking country, right? So then the immigrants come to our land on top of benefiting and quadruple dipping and cosplaying as us and getting ahead when we were not made a protected class. And this African immigrant lady believes that we should not take it out on immigrants when we say, hey, you are undermining us. Hey, you're hurting us. Hey, stop disrespecting us about our culture when you actually mimic us. When the whole reason you're over here is because of us. Why are you getting into places of power in politics and undermining us and voting against reparations, restorative justice, or specific policies for black Americans? Hey, why are you only hiring Africans? Hey, why are you only hiring Caribbeans? Hey, why are you only hiring Latinos? Hey, why are you only hiring Hispanics? Hey, why are you only hiring Asians, East Asians? The list goes on and on. So this African immigrant wants you to overlook the disrespect and just take it to the white people, the powers that be, as if you haven't been doing that. But they can't see that because they're so busy cosplaying as you. They're so busy cosplaying as you, right? That they can't see that. This is what the immigrants are thinking. Hey, black Americans, why are you acting like this out the blue? When black Americans were not advocating for the immigrants being deported, recently the Hispanic officer said the N-word, and the Hispanics, many, were coming out saying, well, we do act like that. But there were many Hispanics acting as if they are oblivious to their anti-blackness in their own land. Now, I'm just saying that they're black, and just for the sake of this video. Now, I don't think they're black, but I'll just say they're melanated. So on top of being anti-black, of course, you're anti-black American when you come here. This is why we was not advocating. This is why we were not advocating for illegal immigration and supporting you, because we know the what's up. We know how you really act. We know how you really function. Somebody tell me, where did she make sense? You fled your land. The whole point of your video was that black Americans should take it to the powers that be, aka the white people. But we've been doing that. We've been doing that. That's why you're here. We're doing that right now. We're advocating for our shit. But we can't claim our shit because you motherfuckers are so busy saying that we're the same. And when you're the same, you're not owed anything as black Americans, indigenous American Indians. They want to make you an immigrant like them. That's why they were fear-mongering, saying that you could be deported as a black American. But the 14th Amendment birthright citizenship belonged to you in context of the era. These people are leeches. They spit a whole bunch of nothing. But this is why you people need to be on code, black Americans. I told you, oftentimes, through journalism, psychology, communication, media, and public relations, our narratives are being changed. An immigrant leech, African Cameroon lady living in Texas with only a Cameroon flag. Pay attention, these people have no allegiance to you in the United States of America. They wanted to so desperately come here to the United States of America, they don't even champion the USA flag. So when you champion your own flag, somehow it's a problem. You're trying to get in the club of white people when it's just your flag. Now, surely this leech-ass African with her Cameroon flag, surely there's so much going on in her land right now. Surely there are issues in her land and her government because that's why she fled. But she still proudly boasts about being Cameroon. So how can she have her flag, but you can't have your flag? And when you take pride in your flag, damn right we are nationalists, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You should be too. Actually, you are. That's why you have your flag in your motherfucking bio, and you ain't even in motherfucking Africa. You are a fucking nationalist, you African lady. Why is that flag in your bio, and you live in the United States of America? Now, I have to assume you don't like the United States of America. But as I stated, I'm sure there are issues in Cameroon, major issues. Listen, get on Google and see what's going on in Cameroon. I'm sure, listen, it's people that look like her own people in Cameroon and Nigeria and Ghana. South Africa, they're holding up weapons to the people. Weapons to the people. Look at Nigerians being kicked out of South Africa, being kicked out of Ghana. Everyone is going crazy in Africa, and then this motherfucker, she want to turn around and talk about some bullshit as if black Americans are any different. As if we're the issue, when the issue is every motherfucking people around the world don't like leeches leeching off of them when there's no just due and no justice, no restorative justice for them in their own land. And that's exactly why you aren't in your land, because you couldn't survive. So as a fucking African immigrant in the United States of America, how could you even open your fucking mouth when you fled your land? Of course, the South African people, the FBA and ADOS and all black Americans who are delineating and anyone around the world is on motherfucking edge because you motherfuckers fled your land when you want to make us a permanent bottom class. So again, in conclusion, you're living in the United States of America. You fled Africa. You only have your flag in your bio, so you're a fucking nationalist in the United States of America. Report her to ICE. Why don't you have a USA flag in your bio? Huh? Yeah. Why don't you have a USA flag in your bio? You're a nationalist, right? She's mad that you're waving a USA flag. You wanted to get in a fucking club in the United States of America, and you don't even have the USA flag. Talking about black Americans are waving the USA flag to get in a club with white people, but you wanted to get in a USA fucking club, and you don't even have a flag. You're an African nationalist. Shut the fuck up.
I'm so pro-black, you can't get me to involve myself in diaspora wars. I'm every nigga on this earth. I'm African, I'm Caribbean, I'm Afro-Latina, I'm Afro-European. If you're a nigga, I am you, you're me. I don't know what to tell you. You're me, you're me, I'm you. I don't know.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Ooh, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Ooh, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.